Hi, Casey. We're still waiting on a bunch of people, so I'm gonna let them all get logged in and everything.
Wanted me to like screen it or whatever.
Hello, stranger. How are you?
Yeah. Is it under meetings?
Checa, can you hear me?
There we go.
Cool. Hi.
Hey.
Long time no see.
Right. How's it going?
Good. Busy. Very busy.
I know. Me too. Sorry.
I feel it.
Yeah, I'm trying to hook up on my phone too.
Cool.
So I can like going over me or whatever.
Got you. Take your time. Take a couple minutes to get situated. We still have a couple people that are still logging in.
Okay.
And I told you there are a couple people that are non-video participants.
Yes.
So we usually end up having about 10 or so, give or take a little bit. But yeah, some people just don't show up, just so you know.
Yeah, that happens with us too.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hey, Lyric.
All right. I'm just gonna mute me for a second and get this.
Go for it.
All right. Cool.
Is there anything you want them to like get out or set up while we're all getting set up too? You're muted. Checa, you're muted already.
I have a couple of those slab tiles that are already leather hard, and I already have some glaze on them, so I'm just gonna use those to just kind of show like, what I do kind of first probably. And then I have a terrible pinch pot I made already ready, and then I'll show, you know, how that translates, how we can do it onto the pot. So
okay.
I don't know really what to get ready first. I guess they could get their clay out. And the other thing was, because I was going to show how I use paper as like a stencil. So I don't know if anybody has any paper that they want to use, just like laying around. Like it could be like newspaper, an old magazine page. Doesn't have to be anything special.
Cool. So if you guys want to go grab like a piece, like she was just saying, a piece of paper, a piece of newspaper or something like that. Yeah. Okay, cool. They're off.
Cool. Because I was like, crap, I don't know if they'll have that, but
yeah.
Crazy.
They're pretty good.
Things like some of our kids are like, I don't have my pencil. And I'm like,
you need a pencil.
Okay. Okay.
Cool. Okay, take your time.
Yeah. All right, cool. Just give me a second.
And then
Alrighty guys, hi. So today we have Checa here with us. You can see she's, at least in mine, she's in the middle on my left. And she's gonna be doing some demos for us, which is super exciting. And she's just finishing getting set up now real quick. I know we're still waiting on, I think, a couple more people for our class. And Checa, just so you know, I told them a little bit about you, but I didn't spill all the beans. So whenever you're ready, yeah, go ahead and give them a little taste of you. Did anybody have any issues with their projects from last week, like in drawing and carving, anything like that? No, they're all happy. Okay, good, cool. And then for those of you who have just joined on, make sure you have, I'm gonna let you guys decide today when we start on Checa's project, if you wanna use your red clay or your gray clay. And then go ahead and grab, if you have a piece of newspaper or a piece of like regular printer paper where she's gonna be demoing some stencil work. So go ahead and grab that now, and make sure you have your clay out ready to dive in when she's ready for us to join along. Sound good?
I wanted to be able to hear them talking.
Well,
You know what I
did
mean?
you get your earphone, your headphones for this? I can just turn it up whenever someone's talking.
Is it gonna reverb them?
It's gonna reverb.
Are you sure?
Try it.
All right, we're trying to see if it's gonna be all echoey for you guys.
Yeah, it's good right now. I know,
Is it
I
good
know what
now?
you're talking about. Yeah, I'm not getting
Okay.
anything.
I have two devices going, so you can see me here and kind of see me there. Is that good? I don't
Yeah,
know.
I know that's working perfect.
Okay, cool. Whew, crazy day. All right. Is everybody back? I don't know.
Audrey might be back. She just, I think, has her video up or camera facing up. Yeah. Hi, Audrey.
Okay. Well, so I don't know what Delaney did tell you about me, but I'm actually a printmaker. So I don't know if anybody knows anything about printmaking, but basically you have a matrix and then you ink it up and you can do multiple things. So once you have the one thing, you can do lots of different things with it. So like this is an old, I'm trying to get it in the right view. There we go. This is an old carving I did. This is linoleum and you carve it out. So it's similar to being able to carve something out of clay. So I have a bunch of different ones of these. This one you can see a little bit better. So we're gonna do something kind of similar. Now I'm not really a very, I would say technical ceramic person. So if you have like more technical questions, I'm gonna probably have you refer to Delaney because I pretty much taught myself and just kind of do things that I think someone who's trained in ceramics probably wouldn't do, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? But I kind of just do what I want. And sometimes a lot of it fails because of that. But at the same time, I learn a lot from my failures. So that's just kind of how it goes. But this is something, oh, that's better. Cool. These are some prints just to give you another idea of how the printmaking stuff works. Like this is bubble wrap. So again, you can push bubble wrap into paper and make a print, or you can push bubble wrap into clay and it makes an image. You know how you put texture into your clay. Same with that one. This is just string. So that's another thing I really love. about this kind of printmaking I do is you don't have to have fancy materials or fancy tools really. You know, just stuff you have laying around. Like I had some string, some bubble wrap from something. You can use a plastic bag, all kinds of stuff to make different kind of textures. But if you do have the means and you have different materials like linoleum and stuff like that, you can use that. So some of these pieces I did in grad school these are ceramic, and I took my old linoleum blocks and I pushed them into the clay, and then I put underglaze on them and fired them, and then I fired them again with clear on top. But I don't make functional things usually. I usually just make parts to a whole. So usually I'm not really even sure what they're going to become when I'm making them. I just make different parts and then kind of do assemblage, put them together with other things. So it's never just a ceramic piece. So that's kind of what I do. And so these are like different shapes and things like that. So what I do is roll slabs and then push the clay into them, and then, you know, like drape them over things so that they kind of get these weird shapes. But we're gonna just take that idea of what I do to these, but do it on a pinch pot. So this is my terrible pinch pot that I already have ready to go. And like Delaney said, pick whatever, you know, color clay, whichever clay you want to use. I will be doing some stuff with carving. So if you think about it, you have, what do you have? Black underglaze, right? So if you have red clay, you said red and gray.
Yeah.
If you think about that, like a print that's already, you already have like one color, right? So like the red clay would be like, you have a red piece of paper, and then you're gonna put your black slip on that, and that's your second layer, and then you carve that away. You have, you know, kind of like a 3-color thing going on, which is really cool. So what I am gonna do is show you this first. So like I said, I do some slab stuff, and I know Delaney said you haven't really done anything with slabs yet, but I just wanted to have these to show you what you can do when things are leather hard with carving tools. So this one, I just had a tile, and I put, I just brushed blue underglaze on it. So that's all that one is. And then this one is one that I cut out pieces. I do a lot of collage work also, so I save all my scraps. And these were just the negatives of what I cut out. So I laid those down on the clay first while it was wet, actually. And then I brushed on the glaze over top of it and then peeled them up, and that was what was left behind. Then I got even crazier because I don't like to waste anything. And then I took the paper that had the side that had the glaze on it because it was still wet, and then I took that and then I turned it over and stamped it on the other one, and that kind of made its own kind of texture and different things. So then I turned the stencil into a stamp. So I really like how ceramics and printmaking really go close together. So a lot of people, you wouldn't think it, but they really do. So basically, I'm gonna move this one for now. This one's getting dry. Let it sit here for a little while. So I'm gonna move that one over. And so I guess what we can do is I know you know how to make pinch pots, right? So we can all make a pinch pot together. And then while that's kind of drying a little bit, we'll set it to the side, and we can, you know, I'll do the demo of the stenciling. And then after that, we can do it to our pinch pot. And I'll show you the different carving things and stuff like that. Is that cool?
And guys, if you haven't already cut your clay, I would go for another baseball-sized piece of your gray or your red clay, just for the sake of the amount of clay that we have left.
That's what I got. John, you want to make one too?
Why not?
I got my friend John's here helping. He's our resident artist in printmaking. You want to use that one?
That's
It's a little bit here. I think I might cut it in half.
Checa, do you want to explain what a resident artist is?
Absolutely. So, a resident artist is someone that we bring in an art, well, in our case specifically, we are trading John for his know-how and his skills in printmaking, as well as his other skills in building things and his skills with tools. And he is here, and we give him room and board in exchange for those things. So he's here to help us. You can come say hi. Come here.
Hi.
You even show them your carvings.
No. You do your thing.
So we selected John because of the quality of his work, and I have to know him personally from grad school. We went to grad school together, and that was really cool. But he's here to basically make work. Residencies are a really nice opportunity for artists to kind of get away from like their hustle and bustle and give them some time to focus more on just their personal artwork. A lot of the times we get caught up doing, different things, things that we love, but, like teaching and other things, which takes us away from our own artwork. So it's really nice to be able to get a residency where you can focus kind of on your work and develop your ideas and do some research. There's all kinds of different residencies out there.
And Brianna, just because I know you just popped in, we're starting off with making a pinch pot. Cool?
Okay.
Cool.
And I don't know how to throw. I'm gonna learn. Sarah has promised me she's gonna teach me, because I'm gonna teach her how to do printmaking stuff. But I like I'm not very good at making pinch pots, but I like making them because I feel like they're just a little bit, more forgiving maybe in a way, or I like how they're just a little bit more, I don't know, natural. I like how you can see your hand. We are gonna go ahead and smooth them out a little bit though, so that we can attach our stencils to them.
You want to switch videos?
I think we're good.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know what they can see. What can you see both of them, or do you guys have it on speaker view? Or?
There's an extra video if you guys want to check that out.
We're good then.
I have both up.
All right.
Yeah. Naz, do you usually keep everyone's up or just the speaker?
I see all of them.
We do all different stuff.
Different angles, man. Get all the action.
We've been, because we had to do a program called the Cool Program in the mornings, and it's difficult because we have like someone as a mediator reading the chat for us, and then we have like 3 devices going, so everyone has to be muted, and it's like you get a lot of echoing, so we have to like shut the volume off. It's just not very fun.
And check out something that we have been, and this will be a review for a couple of you guys too, especially if you did miss last Thursday. We have been talking about the thickness of our pots, right? So we don't want super thick honkin' pots that are going to take 4 weeks to dry, and there's going to be an air bubble in there and yada, yada, yada explosions.
Yes, I tend to make mine a little too thick, so, because I'm always afraid I'm going to go too thin and then break through. So yes, make sure you're conscious of the thickness of your pot.
So for these, I would probably say, like, if you want to be a tiny itty bitty little bit on the thick side, when you carve into it, some of that will take some of that weight out. Yeah.
Yes. So that's another good point. If you carve too deep, you're gonna go through it, and then But you also can do that if you don't want it to be something that gonna hold liquid or anything. You could poke all the way through, and that's a cool design. I mean, that's what I do. That's what I did on this one. There's a hole, but you know, this is like a wall hanging or a piece to something else. So pinch pot, a little different. Yeah, that's what I'm doing now. I'm just trying to kind of feel if I'm even around, which I'm not. So I'm gonna keep going here for a little
And we did talk about one carving technique using the underglaze on Thursday. Does anybody remember what it's called? It's kind of a hard word. Casey? You got it? Starts with an S. Naz, you got it. I know you got it. No. Sgraffito, right?
Yep.
When you carve through the underglaze.
Yeah.
I know
kind
that's
of
a hard one.
similar. I don't want to bore you if it's like a repeat, but
Oh, we talked about it for like what, 10 minutes? It was
cool.
super. It was
good.
like, yeah, it was like, it ended up being almost deleted because we kind of ran out of time.
Yeah, and like I said, you know, I'm not. Hope I'm doing okay because I'm not really a ceramics teacher or anything. No, I'm not. But I didn't. When I was in grad school, I didn't know what I was doing was called sgraffito. Like I was like, oh, I'm gonna carve into the clay and do this thing, and they're like, oh, that's a technique, and I'm like, oh, cool, so perfect. Yeah, man.
I told them that you and I are basically the opposite, that you were printmaking with a little bit of ceramics and I was ceramics with a little bit of printmaking.
Yeah. So perfect. That's why I said, you know, more technical stuff. I'm glad you're here. We're actually going to do a pinch pot project with our pool program.
Will you talk about your pool program a little more?
Yeah, it's open. It's 2 school districts right now, which is they're Sharon and Farrell, and it's students who are, I think it's 5th grade through 12th grade, and it's a free program, and whoever signs up can do it as long as they're in the school district because we get like special grants for it. And they also do a bunch of other, it's not just art, it's like science, math, and like just a bunch of different things like STEM stuff for the summer.
Cool.
And it's just been a kind of a crazy transition because we were supposed to have it in person like everybody else and everything else. So we've been kind of figuring out that, having some kits home and different things.
Yep.
It's a really cool thing. I get it, the pool program.
Yeah, I think right now for where we're at, are most of you guys in Pierce County or are you in what county is Bethel in?
Pierce.
Pierce. Okay, cool. That's what I thought. Yeah. So the county that we're in, we were like doing really, really well, and so they let us into phase 2, and now we're slowly slipping a little bit. So I'm like knocking on wood and praying that we don't go back to phase 1, but everything is online now anyways, so.
Right. So I'm gonna get some water on mine a little bit and smooth this guy out so that I can have a real nice.
I was, our local fairgrounds, they were doing like a drive-through kind of a thing where you can drive through the fair and get all the fair food, which I was like, that's genius. I love it. Like, and I want to go do it and eat everything. And then, has anybody gone yet? No? Okay. I'm not going to tell you not to go, but I've seen like the horror stories that it takes like 3 hours to get through there. And it's not like you can just drive to like the Krusty Pup stand or to Earthquake Burgers. It's like you have to drive through the entire thing. So like you can get stuck in line. Yeah.
Oh man.
So I'm not sure 3 hours is worth it.
Yeah. It's just so many people are so anxious to like go do something or get out. It's overrun. So the one thing about doing the sgraffito or the carving in is that you get a cleaner line when the clay is a little bit harder. So it doesn't have to be, I guess, exactly leather hard, but you definitely want it to be getting close. So I know we probably won't get it with our time frame of leather hard, but with the slabs that I have I made them yesterday so that they would be ready to show you that. So I just kind of smoothed mine out a little bit with the rib just to get it. I usually like to leave my fingerprints. I like to show the hand in it, but we're going to do that in a different way. My lovely, terrible pot. I love it. All right. I'm gonna get rid of this one for now. Put it over here. Does anybody, because I could show you how to do the slab things if anybody, we weren't sure if anyone would have a rolling pin or anything they could flatten their clay out with, but maybe we'll just go with the pinch pot for now. Let's get that. This is my one from earlier. She's a little thick. This one. Set this a little bit. How's everybody coming?
Adriana, let's do a check.
Pretty good.
Cool. Happy joy. I love the red clay. It's
Nice. Yeah, it's nice.
cool. Cypress, how about you? Nice. That's a happy pot. Lyric. Cool.
Let's turn this one up a little
And check. Well, I think for everyone in the class, it's a pretty sunny, happy day here. So what we could do, since our pots are a little bit wet, we could set our pots outside while you demo the
Perfect.
surface decoration, and that'll let them set up a little bit.
Yeah, that would help. I'm glad you're having a nice sunny day. Our weather has been kind of crazy lately.
How so?
Because it doesn't feel like summer like at all. it felt like it was like a fall day today, which I'm not complaining because it was breezy and cool. And I was just like, this is nuts. And then the next day it'll be like 90% humidity and gross.
Ouch.
Yeah. It rained a bunch too the past, what was it, a couple days ago. It rained a lot.
Huh. Yeah, we're just getting into our hot season, which is like high 80s until like mid-August. If that's like on the high side.
It sounds nice though. All right. I am going to put these in front of my window, actually. Oh,
nice. And again, guys, if you do get those little itty bitty, I'm not sure if you can see the little hairline kind of cracks right there on the lip of my pot, just because it's so dry. Feel free to use your sponge and get it a little bit more wet. Cool.
There should be a paintbrush kit over there somewhere. It's like in a black golden thing. Where my curving tools are. Oh, shoot. This thing doesn't like to stay on this table. Bear with me. My little thing fell.
All good. I know those things are a pain in the butt.
Okay. I'm just trying to dull down this pencil a little bit so I can use it as a curving tool too. There you go. So since I'm a printmaker, I have carving tools that are for wood or linoleum, which they actually can be pretty similar to the ceramic tools. So I'll use those just to show you, because these are like really easy to get to. It's called Speedball Ferber, and it comes with different, what do you call it, different size gouges. So I like to use that, but you know, I have some of these tools that we can also use. I'm sure you probably have some of these, or even ribs that have the tooth on them. Use those. Just kind of anything that you want, or a pencil. it a minute, let everybody get together. Let me see. I gotta decide what I want to do on this. I think we're just gonna go with it. I'm just gonna do kind of like a pattern, I think. Oh yeah. It's gonna be nice. So what did I know somebody was using the red. Did everybody do the same? Or did you use your gray clay, some of you? Trying to see.
Naz, what did you use?
I use the gray clay.
The gray, cool.
Both will look really cool with the black underglaze, I think.
How about you, Audrey?
I use the red.
Cool. Yeah, I think a lot of people use the red.
I can see has red, I think, yeah.
And Ruby is actually cypress, just so you know.
Okay, cool, cypress. Cool. Thanks.
Casey, are you using red or gray?
I'm using the red.
Cool, sweet.
Cool. All right. Are we at a good point? I don't want to rush anyone.
Is everyone done with their pinch pot?
Take your time, you know.
Yeah, we're all done. We're good. Okay, cool. So if you guys want to set your pieces outside in the sun, then we're gonna watch Checa for a while, and we're gonna watch her do her carving through the underglazes. That would be cool. Cool.
Yep. Wait for everyone to get back. Is that Let's Talk?
Yeah.
Can't see me anymore. Is it still on?
Low battery. That's all.
Oh wait.
Also, you guys, if you need to grab some water or use the restroom, now would be a good time while we're in between this. Cool.
It's actually a great idea because I need to.
You have a walk though?
Oh, they did. Yeah, I don't. I need to check my bag.
I'm really horrible about drinking water, so I've been like trying to religiously force myself to drink water.
I bought this at Walmart just to make myself, I fill it up like a couple times a day and I'm like, you have to drink it. But I am going to do that actually really quick. I'll be right back.
Now it's good. I'm assuming everyone got my email. While she's gone, I'll blab for a minute. So, if you guys could send me some decent pictures of your projects from last week as a check-in, that would be really cool. And then for Thursday, you will need a rolling pin and a plate mold. Even if it's something like this, like a plastic guy, that's fine. If it's like a plate that your mom doesn't care about, that's a ceramic one out of the cupboard, that's fine too. We're not going to destroy it. We're just going to use it for a mold. And then I'm going to start telling you guys now, just so that way it's on your calendar. All of the project drop-offs are going to be at Camas Prairie, which is the place that we met for the pickups, except for a couple of you. And it's going to be on the 30th and the 31st of July. So in about 2.5 weeks. Be really careful with your projects. The drier that they get, they're going to become more and more fragile, just more brittle, so they'll be a little bit easier to like crack and crumble and break. Yeah, so if you have a piece that is really fragile, I might like hold it in your lap while you're bringing it to the drop-off point. Yeah, I did have a student, and this is a sad story. Don't tell anybody because I haven't told her yet. I've been putting it off. And she made this, it was a basket, so like imagine this but way bigger. And she put this huge, beautiful handle on top of it, but it was really, really, really thin. It was a really skinny handle. And so when it went into the kiln, it didn't shrink correctly, right? Because the pot was a little bit thick and super big, and then the tiny little handle, and it totally cracked off, right? So be careful with that kind of stuff. Just be aware. Sometimes when you're adding those handles, if they're a little bit thicker, that's a good thing, right? It'll make it a little bit stronger. Yeah. Right now, backing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. You're welcome. One. Oh, move it.
Cool. I thought this just drains my phone battery, and I thought my phone was gonna die, but I found the charger too. So.
And then really quick, you guys, how much underglaze do you have left? Like half a bottle or so, if you had to guess. Less, more? Casey, what?
I have like 3/4 of a bottle left, I think.
Okay, cool. Okay, sweet. Is
Yeah, you
everyone
don't
else-
need much. I mean,
Yeah.
Half.
Okay, sweet. Okay. All right. We're fine on underglaze then. Use all you want.
all right. So I'm just gonna kind of do this. I don't really have a plan for it, which I kind of like to do. So I'm just gonna go ahead, start carving this bad boy. Like I said, these ones are pretty leather hard already, and which will give you a nicer line when you're carving. Because if it's too soft, it's just, it's just gonna smush in, and then you're not really gonna see like the difference between the underglaze and the clay, and it just won't be a crisp enough line. But anyway, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start carving this. I'm using a bigger U gouge. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like a scoop. And then I can hold it closer up here. Kind of. So it's similar to some tools. So I'm gonna start with that because that's what I use. I know you don't have those, but just to show you like what you can achieve with that. This one's like a fatter carbon. You don't want to push too hard. Just a little bit of pressure, but you can see. Let me bring this closer to me a little bit. Maybe that's too close. I don't know if you can see that, but what I like to do, I'm just gonna make this kind of like just a pattern design. So I'm just carving that away. Oh, this is nice. And you'll be able to do the same thing to your pot. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and use the circle one and just kind of drag it. Oh, I like that. That makes a nice mark. Really, you're really just wanting to remove the underglaze. So you really don't have to push very hard at all, unless you want it to be a little bit more of an indent than just on the surface. But this will basically be what you'll be doing. on your cups. And like I said, you don't have to have the fancy tools. Even if you just have a pencil, you can go ahead and draw in. That gives you a really nice hand-drawn mark. You want to push a little bit harder if you're using a pencil. I'm gonna hold this up so you can see the difference in the marks. So that was the one gouge. That was this, making that kind of bigger mark, and then little squiggles with my pencil. So you can really do whatever you want. If you like to draw, this is a perfect opportunity to incorporate your drawing skills into your clay or into your ceramics. You can write things. I know a lot of artists who like to write like hidden messages within their work and layer it and do different things. I also like, as I'm carving it out, I like to brush away the extra, I call little boogers that come up, you know, get them out of your way so that you can see what you're doing. If you're using a pencil or a needle tool or something like that, I would probably go back over it to kind of help carve that gunk out of there. Sometimes you gotta go over it more than once. Blowing on it helps a little bit, get that out of there. And you know, you'll get a different mark depending on how sharp or dull your pencil is too. So I put this one on purpose. That would be a little bit fatter and help like penetrate into the underlays. And this one's a little bit sharper, so we're gonna see the difference it makes. Not too much of a difference, but it's definitely a little bit thinner. And you don't have to go over it as many times because it's sharper. So it makes a better line. There's some more of that. And you can see it actually, and even right now while it's not been fired or anything, you can see it kind of looks like it's different tone because of how much of the underglaze is taken away. When you do more, make bigger chunks, you know, you're gonna see that more. This looks like a different tone because smaller marks, same with the pencil. I think I'm gonna turn, now I'm feeling like this is reminding me of water or something, so now I'm gonna turn this into some type of waterscape thing. Maybe put some sun in the sky. You can try and be as precise or as, I don't know, like sketchy as you want. I like to draw kind of sketchy and go back over my lines. And I also, a lot of my artwork is about repurposing and things like that too. So I like to pick up things off the side of the road that I see potential in and different things, and just I kind of like to go with the flow. So if I make a mistake or something doesn't work out how I want, I just am like, well, that's what it's gonna be now, and just go with it. Sometimes it's hard to do that for some people, but it's a good way to just kind of embrace it. You know, I don't know, a lot of our kids are really into Bob Ross, so I don't know, you know, happy little mistakes and all that. I was into him when I was a kid, so I think it's funny that he's still around, making people happy. You can kind of turn your pencil on the side too. That makes for a way wider mark. I don't know if you can see that, what I just did, but that's a really nice thing. So the best thing to do would be just mess around with it. You know, you might want to have a specific thing you want to put on your pot or draw on there or a pattern. But I say for this first one, if you've never done that before, carve back in, I would just make it like an experiment piece and use different tools and see what you get. And then you'll know for your next one what you like and what you don't like, and you can do it intentionally. That's the best thing about just kind of working off the cuff, is that you figure things out along the way. And then I like to take notes. I have like a notebook when I'm printing or doing anything like this, because if I do something and I like it and I didn't expect that to happen, I have to make a note of it, because then the next time I can do it on purpose. You know what I mean? So then you can say, oh, it wasn't just this just happened by accident. Yeah, it did, but then you can do it with intention. And that's part of, I think, being an artist is, you know, what's your intent, all that kind of stuff. But John's over here. He gave up on the pinch pot. I want to show them your dog.
Done.
He misses his dog. So he's making a sculpture of her right now. It's pretty good. Here, I'm going to show you. There's also something really just satisfying about carving the clay away. So you can kind of get carried away just like having a good time doing it. So even if that's what you want to do, it can be more about like the meditative process of it. It doesn't even have to be anything other than that. It's just kind of nice to have this like clean slate to work with, and you can just kind of do whatever you want to. That's what I'm doing here. I'm gonna switch my blades. This one's a really tiny one. Let's see what we can do with this. Oh yeah, this one's really nice. You can get really tiny lines with this. Like butter. Another thing to think about when you're doing these, if you do any drawing, you would know about shading and different things like that. So with printmaking, when you do shading, you can't really shade because you're not using a pencil to draw. You're making marks, so you have to do it with your mark making. So you have to rely on like your line weight, which is like the thickness of your line or the thickness of your line, or you could do like cross hatching kind of effect, or even stippling, kind of like little dots. Does that make sense? So you can kind of draw that way and make your image a little bit more interesting instead of just carving like big chunks away. So I might do that inside of this shape I made. I'm gonna do a little cross hatching.
And guys, depending on how dry your pinch pot ends up here in a little bit, if you have not carved your pot from Thursday, I might say take this opportunity and carve your pot from Thursday, because it's gonna be happier in that leather hard stage, right? Like not sopping wet, like you just made a pot, but you'll still be able to carve through it. Raise your hand if you have carved your pot from Thursday, like completely. Just Casey? Okay, cool. Sorry, Casey. You got outnumbered.
I mean, I could add more.
You have your stuff from last week? I'm gonna see.
Yeah. You guys want to grab them and pull them out? Because they would kind of be perfect for this, right?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So Checa, we got a little crazy with it. We basically made 2 pots, right? So this was 1 pinch pot at the bottom. This was 1 pinch pot at the top. But the top is with gray clay and the bottom is with red clay.
Oh, no, that's nice. Very subtle, but awesome. It's all in the details.
Yeah.
I love that.
So if you have not carved through your pot yet, the idea is that when you carve through the bottom, right, you guys can see I added those little clouds in there. And you can see the red clay through the carving, right?
Yes.
And then when you carve through the top, you'll be able to see the gray clay. Cool.
Very cool.
I think for some of you, I told you that we were putting black underglaze on everything, and you were like, why would I cover up all of the pretty clay? But it's that way you can see it through the underglaze.
Yep.
Cool.
So it's not really showing up that well. I'm gonna hold it up closer to you here. But you can kind of see it. The lighting's not so great, but I did the cross hatching here. And then I just was like making little holes. So that's what I meant by instead of just taking, you know, just like big chunks out, you can get a little bit more detailed with it. So like I said, if you like to draw and you want to have more detail, then you could do something like that. What's that?
This is your moment to shine.
It's not my moment to shine.
You know what I'm saying? If you like to draw.
Oh, I think because I'm not very drawing's not my strong suit, but hey, we can't be good at everything, right?
Miss Hills.
Yes, ma'am.
So I didn't do the underglaze yet, but I was wondering if I could just do it on the pot because I have my seahorse on there.
Yeah.
And then I have like my little squid, or not the squid, the octopus.
Love it. Did you put the suckers on already?
Yeah, I did. It's kind of hard to see with the lighting, but so the seahorse, it didn't work as like a handle because it was too like, I don't know, flimsy, but I figured I could just pinch it and hold it.
Kind of like a little indention to grab onto.
Yeah. No, you just gotta like hold it, I guess.
Okay.
Use a pencil to make some dots.
Cool. Yeah, so you're just gonna underglaze like the top part, minus the seahorse, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
And I would, if you want to start doing that now, because how wet is that guy?
It's pretty wet.
Pretty wet. Okay, cool. So I would start adding the underglaze on now while
Okay.
still demonstrating a little bit because you want to get 2 or 3 coats on there, right? So it's not all splotchy.
Okay.
Ooh, I like what this pencil's doing. So you can just, instead of even drawing, just poke it right in there and just make little holes.
And check out, we can actually see pretty darn well on the
Really?
yeah.
Cool,
Right.
because like when I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, I can barely see that. But if you can see good, then that's awesome. So
Yeah, no, it's pretty good.
So, like I said, this one I'm just kind of going crazy, trying out different tools because I didn't want to just use my printmaking tools because I know not everybody has those. So that's what I usually use when I'm carving out my stuff. But I do want to go ahead. I'm gonna switch off from this one to the one that has the stencil work on it, and then actually I'll grab one of my pots and put some on and show you. Oh, bye. That fell. This thing's not the sturdiest. Oh yeah, you can put it through there. It'll go in. Are we back?
There we go.
Something's covering.
Good
It's
back.
covering that.
That's good.
Sorry.
All right, and then did everyone show Checa your pots?
Yeah, let's see. Ooh.
Happy.
Oh, it's like those are nice. I like what's going on with your handle. It has like the extra piece going around. It's like a chalice type thing going on. It's
Oh,
awesome.
the swirl.
Yeah, I love that.
Thank you. So since we had the two colors, I just marbled it together.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, it's really happiness.
Awesome.
Cypress, let's see your, I can't see yours very super well, sorry. Cool.
All right, so there's that. I'm gonna mess with
Handle's
this one
solid.
real quick. I really like how this stencil came out. It was like nice and crisp. For what this one I used, like I said, I do a lot of collaging too. So I used just a scrap from something I cut out, like the negative space, because you just get like funky things that you wouldn't draw, you know? That's why I like doing that. And I reuse everything. I don't like to waste anything. Everyone gets kind of annoyed with me because I have like a bin with paper scraps and they're like, can I throw this away? I'm like, no, you cannot. And then this is my other bin of this is full of bubble wrap and just basically trash that other people were throwing out. And I said, you can't throw that away. I need that. I'm gonna do a little carving and incorporate that into this one with the stencil just to show you know how things look with different techniques all together. I'm just gonna kind of go outline around this. Now, show you how to do the stencils, which you probably may have some experience with. I don't know, but
And Checa, what kind of clay do you guys use over there?
we just use for right now. I think it's just, and that's not, it's like probably not. I'm not the person to ask, but what do you stoneware? Is that the right thing?
That's what we're using too.
Yeah, stoneware.
It's forgiving.
I know our resident for ceramics just got here. His name's Dallas. He actually was with us last summer. He uses a special kind of porcelain. So we're gonna be getting some of that, and that's gonna be cool to see him work with that. We usually just use this stoneware. Ooh, I like that. I'm so excited to do this with you all. I haven't really been, like I was talking about the residency, you know, how special that is for artists because they can devote a lot of time to their own work. So I haven't really been able to do that lately, and this is kind of nice. It's getting me reacquainted with this technique that I love to do, but I just haven't had the time to do in a while. So thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
I like that. I'm just gonna go around this one and then I'm gonna show you how to do the stencils. Like I said, it's really satisfying, so I don't want to get carried away, just carving. right, I'm almost done with this. All right. So I just kind of went around the outline of that. Very simple, but it's just kind of nice to mix the different techniques. So what I'm gonna do is grab my one pot that I made earlier. Now, I have found with doing the stencils, if your pot isn't exactly, it can be a little bit more wet because then actually the stencil, it helps the stencil kind of stick to it, if that makes sense. So I'm actually gonna turn mine upside down probably to do this. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So you have your paper, any kind of paper really works. I'm gonna use my magazine cutouts. I'm gonna grab those. Okay. So you can either use, if you have scissors, you know, or I don't know what supplies everybody has, we all have different things. If you don't have scissors or something to cut with, like maybe an X-Acto, those work really well too, so you can get like kind of a nice precise cutout. If you don't have scissors or that, you can just rip them. Doesn't matter, you know. Do whatever you feel. I'm gonna do kind of a mixture. I'm just gonna rip some of these up. And also, depending on if you rip it or if you cut it, then you're gonna get a different edge too. So that's kind of nice. So I'm just gonna put it on there and kind of push it in a little bit so it sticks. See that? I'm just kind of pushing it in, smoothing it out a little bit. I am going to use this one because it's like a lady that I cut out, so I think that'll be funny to see how well she comes out. So I'm going to put her around the pot, maybe like this. And then it's going to be a little bit different than putting it on just a tile, like a flat surface, because you know the contour of it with the pot, so you're going to have to kind of work a little harder to get it to stick down on the edges. That's what I'm doing, just kind of pushing this in. Don't worry if it wrinkles, the paper wrinkles, it doesn't matter. Tear some more. if you tear your paper, you can do kind of like even a mosaic effect, you know, like tear little pieces and put them all over it. And then the space in between will be like the grouting. You can get that kind of look. You can really do all kinds of different stuff. So that's what I'm gonna kind of do here. I'm gonna just tear these up and put them really close together on it. Disappeared for a minute there. There we go, we're back. Sorry about that. So hopefully you can see that a little bit better now. I'm just kind of pushing these shapes in, tearing on this foam. I don't even know I shouldn't put it on the bottom because you gotta keep the bottoms clean, but I'm just gonna do it so you can see. And you know, you can also do the inside too. Doesn't just have to be the outside. You can carve on the inside of these, you can put the stencils on the inside. So I would say for the carving, definitely leather hard. Then for stenciling, I would do that when it's still a little bit wet so you can push the stencils in. And then once you peel those, I would let those sit and get leather hard, and then you can go back in and carve, do the combo technique. No, that's it for a sec. How's everybody doing? We still carving? I know I kind of just went ahead and did this, but I figured I would get that going while you were still pretty straightforward.
All right, let's do a check-in. Casey, where you at? That's a happy pot. Do you have black? There's a little zigzag in the middle of the top pot. Is there black underglaze in the zigzag, or is it just a carving?
It's actually half lines were just like a little pattern I did with the underglaze, and then the other part was carving. So
Cool.
it's kind of both.
Nice. Got a nice combo going.
Lyric, how about you? Where are you at?
What did you say?
You're muted.
I said you can't really see it.
Oh, gotcha.
So I'm working on it.
What have you carved into it so far?
Working on making a little character, like a little robot. I thought it was cool.
Cool. I love robots. Sorry for my hair. I just got it cut and it's kind of unruly right now. I just looked up. I was like, oh my gosh, I look like Ace Ventura. Did somebody know?
I don't know who Ace Ventura is. You guys?
I'm too old.
Nobody? Somebody?
It's It's probably better that you don't. I don't know. Jim Carrey, he's crazy.
You guys know who Jim Carrey is? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks. Guys, another thing that I'm just gonna pop in really quick. While you are carving, if you are actually, no matter what you're carving, I like to use my phone a lot or like it's hard to use your computer right now, obviously, because we're on here. But I like to use my phone for reference imagery. So like if I wanted to carve a cartoon from a cartoon character, I would pull up a picture of them so that way I can see actually like what's going on, and I can kind of figure out proportionally like, is his head actually that big, or did I just make it 5 times bigger than it needed to be? And that's for anything, like if you're doing a deer or a person or whatever.
Very good point. A lot of our students will get frustrated because they're like, this doesn't look right, or this doesn't look real, or I can't draw, you know, a face or eyes and stuff. And I'm like, well, what are you looking at? And they're like, nothing, I'm just drawing it from my head, which is fine. But if you are trying, like she said, if you're trying to get the proportions right, or you want it to look more realistic, then you definitely need to look at something. You need a reference. You can't just, it's going to come out too stylized or what it's, I was told once, I don't draw what I see, I draw what I think I see. It's because I would just make it up. So you have to have reference for sure. John knows all about that too, because he teaches printmaking, but he also teaches drawing. Drawing 1, and drawing 2, and all that. So he definitely knows what we're talking about.
First 2 weeks, there's nothing but drawing what you see.
All right, I got quite a few on the outside of this one. I'm gonna go get my other one. For this one, I have some little shapes I'm gonna put on here. Bunch of little shapes that I cut out. Ooh, something else that makes a good stencil or resist for the glaze would be, you know, those different paper punches that are like different things, you know, like you make a little confetti out of it or whatever, like a heart or like a star or something like that. You had one of those laying around, you could do that, or even just a circle. We have a laser etcher engraver thing. So I've been messing around with cutting paper in it, so I don't have to sit here and use my X-Acto and cut out a bunch of tiny little shapes. So I was able to cut all of these. You can see little, they're all just a bunch of little shapes. So these make really cool stencils too. And that's what I'm gonna put on this other part.
the other thing, if you have like a really artsy parent or grandparent, my grandma, I'm sure nobody, Checa, you know what creative memories is, right?
What's that?
You know what creative memories is, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So she was a consultant for like 25 years or something. So she has
wow.
a huge room of, I'm not going to say trash, it's not trash, but just every single like outdated paper sticker cutout thing ever. And she doesn't use it, which like that's in my mind what makes it like such a waste. So yeah, bother your parents or grandparents and see what kind of art stuff they have. And because she also has, you guys, do you know what a Cricut is?
Yeah, out the different things.
Yeah, they're actually pretty cool. So basically, like you put, I don't know what they're called. Checa, do you know what they're called? The little, gosh, like I want to say cartridge, but that's so wrong. The little things that you put in. Casey, you got me. Back me up.
It is a cartridge.
Oh, it is? Okay, good. Okay, cool.
Yeah, the little, I was gonna say the little thing that has all the patterns on it. That
Yeah,
is,
it has like the buttons.
yeah, that's the cartridge for it.
Yeah, so you put the cartridge in, and then depending on what cartridge you have, it just prints out whatever you want. It's pretty cool. So
It is cool.
bother someone in your family about it.
I heard actually with the new Cricut, you can actually like make your own like mask designs with it, and you can cut like fabric and stuff with it too. It's really cool.
Yeah, you can do that on our laser thing. We're looking at how we can make masks, face masks out of old T-shirts.
Ooh,
Give away to people, and then we can do like screen printing on them and different things, block printing on them with an image, and then get them out because there's a lot of people who can't get the masks, or they're running out of them everywhere and stuff like that. So we're trying to get them help back. Put a call out on good old Facebook and Instagram and say, hey, we're collecting T-shirts. That's what I did over quarantine with magazines for my collages. I was like, I need magazines. People just were like dumping them off on my porch in boxes. I was like, yes.
And guys, just to tell you what I'm doing right now, I'm really full of fear like all the time. Everything gives me anxiety. So I'm just taking a pencil and I'm kind of outlining where I want to do my carving. That way, and like you can't see it on the camera. I'm just doing it super, super gently. So like barely touching the pencil to my clay, my pot. But that way, if I make a really, really wrong line, well, like when I'm carving, with the pencil, it's not that big of a deal, right? I can fuss with it and make sure that I fix it when I do the actual carving. And then the graphite, right, your pencil, it will just burn out in the kiln. It won't stay. So it's kind of like doing a little mock-up rough draft.
Yes, good point on that. So you don't have to worry. And same thing with these paper stencils too. If it sticks to it, it's just paper, it's gonna burn away as well, so. I love this too, because it's just, like I said before, if anything, it's just kind of meditative and relaxing. Like you just said, you're full of anxiety, and there's just so many unknowns going on today that it's hard to not feel like goodness for art, because that always helps ground me down, helps bring me back away from all the worries of the world. All right, I got this guy covered too with my stencils. That one there for a little bit. I'm gonna go back to curving on this one a little bit. I'm gonna grab one of John's carvings just to show you because they're amazing. Give me 1 second. So here's one he's working on. And this can kind of show you too how much detail you can get from carving. Can you see that?
I love it.
It's some kind of like fish alligator creature thing. But you can definitely get out of you even have the black underglaze. So think about it like that, like your clay is the white of the paper, you know, or whatever color paper, and then you carve it away. So that's what I was saying by how you have to get your values or your shading with the lines that you make, because you see, you know, these ones here are further apart. Over here closer together, so your eyes, just the optics of it, it makes it look like it's a different tone, right? So you can kind of think about that too when you're carving into your clay. Like I said, you can do crossing, kind of pump up your drawing and give it, or your carving and give it a little bit more depth. Here's another one he did. It's like a tiger head. So you can see the different styles, you know, you can carve different things. And then this is one he printed on top of one of my prints. So we did a kind of a little collaboration. But you can also, you could take that. Will you bring that over here, that tiger? Right there, the linoleum. I just wanted to show them the different carvings they could do. So this is his little piece of linoleum he carved. But like I was saying, you could take this and put this into clay, or you know, even into your pot. I don't want to get clay on here right now.
Wait for that.
I didn't get clay on it. I would have like pushed it into it. I'll do it with one of mine.
Check out how long.
Sorry.
How long is John with you guys for as a resident?
So he's been with us since July 1st, but sadly he's leaving next week, right?
Monday morning.
Monday is his last day, and he has done so much helping me because our printmaking program's new. So he's been helping me make some adjustments to the shop and helping me just do all kinds of like building and different things like that, as well as working on his artwork. I wish he could stay forever, but
I wish I could too.
he's gotta go. So here's what I'm gonna do. This isn't that one carving that I have. I'm gonna push the bottom of my pot into it. Maybe you can see. Ooh, no, I changed my mind. I'm sorry. I know what I'm gonna do. I have more clay over here. And roll it out with my rolling pin and show you that technique. Down a little bit. So I'm just rolling this out. And yeah, if you don't have a rolling pin, I'm sure you could find something that you could kind of flatten your clay out with, like maybe even like, I don't know, and a piece.
Magazine, roll it up
Like,
and tape it.
oh, that works. Or John had a good idea. You could take a magazine, tape it, roll it up and tape it. Maybe that would help. I don't know. Try some different stuff. Like I said, you don't always have to have the best tools. You can kind of figure it out. Not having what you normally would use. All right, so I rolled that out. And then I'm gonna take my piece of linoleum and I'm gonna put it on top, just like a stamp. And then I'm gonna take my rolling pin again, push into it kind of hard. So you wanna get that indent in there. Have you ever made cookies? Roll out. And when you pull it up, it has this nice indent. You can see that on there. So that's another way to do it. And then you can go and then you can also, you know, keep it simple and just do that. Or you can incorporate or even put your underglaze on it. And then once it's a little bit harder, leather hard, you can go in and carve with this. So you kind of have like a double carving going on. You got carving you did from this and then you carve back in. Actually. I'm gonna put a couple stencils in here. Just a stick. So I'm just going and putting these little pieces of paper cutout stencils on with the flat areas where none of the texture is. For one, they will stick better there to the top of my texture. All right, I think I'm gonna put some glaze on, under glaze on this one. I want to see how this looks. All right, so I have blue, and I'm just gonna go ahead and take it, and brush it right over top of this paintbrush. I'm excited about this. I'm not waiting for it to be dry or anything. I'm just doing it. All right, I got that on there. I'm gonna wait let that glaze dry, and then I'm gonna attempt to peel off all the paper. Show them your dog, John. Look how cute.
Love it. The babe.
John has a what is she?
Great Dane Pit Bull mix.
Great Dane Pit Bull mix. She's
Such a
big.
cute girl.
And she's sweet. Very sweet.
Best friends are cats.
Yeah, and he also has 2 cats, and they all get along really well, which cracks me up. All right. It's gonna be cool when this is dry. I'm excited to peel these off.
And Checa, I was gonna bother you a little bit more at the beginning, and then we started running, which I'm happy about.
Very good. Yeah. What's up?
Will you tell us a little bit about how you got where you are and kind of your background in art and why you do it?
Yeah.
Art,
So,
what's the meaning of life? The easy question.
for how I got to where I am, like working at HopeCAT, or just like, okay. Well, I really was always into art and everything, and I always knew I was gonna do art in some way in my life. I didn't know. I didn't think I would teach really. I just knew I enjoyed making, and it was a big part of my life. And I had a really hard time in school, and especially in high school. It can, as I'm sure you all know, can be tough. So I kind of just turned to my art a lot, and that helped me get through a lot of times. You know, I had like I said, I was always into art, but at a certain point, it kind of turned into more of like something that helped me get through things. So I never really thought it was going to turn into like a career or anything like that. But when I graduated high school, I really didn't want to go to college or anything because I just was like, I don't know what I want to do. I even thought about joining the military. I wanted to join the Air Force. And I learned about printmaking. And I was one of the people who, some high schools, you do weird message on my computer. Can you hear me? It's saying my microphone's not working.
It's a little bit garbly. It's like going in and out.
Let me see if I can change this. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, there we go.
No better? Okay. But I had some experience. We did ceramics in like middle school and high school, but I never really learned about printmaking. And then when I saw the printing presses and like what you could do with printmaking and everything, then I was just like hooked. So I ended up going to Youngstown State University in Ohio, which is not too far from where I am in Pennsylvania. It's actually, where I live in Pennsylvania is really close to the border, actually, of Pennsylvania and Ohio. So it wasn't too far away, but it was just far away enough that I was kind of, you know, I got to have like the living on my own experience and everything, which was fun. And I really met a lot of good friends in the art department there. And especially my mentor and now, you know, colleague and friend, Joe Duva, who was the printmaking professor there. He just really was a great guy and got me into art. And I don't know if any of you know about NCECA, that's for ceramics, right? The ceramics conference. Well, we have them for printmaking too. There's one that's called the MAPC, Mid-America Print Council, and then the other one, I always get it wrong, but SGCI, Southern Graphics International Conference. So he took me to one of those, I think it was like my freshman year. And then I just really knew like, oh man, printmaking's my thing, you know, like it was just so cool. You get to see all different print exhibitions and different techniques and panels and discussions. And it was just awesome. So I went to a bunch of those with him. And like I said, I never thought I was going to teach. So I was just getting like my studio degree in art. And I was like, what am I really going to do with this though? You know, like what am I going to do with this? I don't know. I always was a camp counselor in the summers for like an arts crafts camp. So I did stuff like that, but I didn't really know what I was going to do. And I was working at a restaurant since the time I was 15, same restaurant. So I worked at the same restaurant for like 12 years. And I just kind of got caught up after I graduated undergrad, making money, not really. And I kind of fell away from doing my art a little bit. Like we were talking about earlier, just like paying bills and doing different things. So actually, Christian, who runs the ceramics department here, I met him and he had his own little studio and he gave me a space to work in his ceramics studio. And he told me about this place called Chautauqua, the Chautauqua Institute, and it's in Chautauqua, New York. It's kind of like towards like Buffalo, New York. And I went there for a summer. I applied actually, and I got in for printmaking and I got a scholarship. So that was amazing. And they paid for me to go there. So it was kind of like a 9-week summer residency type thing, kind of like what John's doing here. So I got to go there and we had visiting artists that came and talked to us like every week and critiqued our artwork. Some of them were really mean and harsh, but hey, that's art, you know. Sometimes you gotta just roll with it. Sometimes you don't want to hear what people are gonna say in critiques, but it was a really great experience for me. And then that's when I knew I was like, I want to teach, I want to do this, I want to go to grad school. And then from going to all those conferences and stuff, I met a lot of different professors at different schools. And I got recruited to go to the University of Alabama. And they're not like a crazy big art school or anything. They're actually more known for their business and law, I think, maybe. But I got a full ride there. And if anybody has ever talked to you about like those kind of like funding and things like that, it was like a no-brainer. I had to go because it was totally paid for. You know, I wasn't going to have any debt. But I went there. That's actually how I met John. We went to grad school together and we had a really good time there. So we became really good friends. And I grew up here in Sharon, like I said, and I went to grad school and I ended up being in Alabama for about almost 5 years. But a lot of my friends like Christian and my friend Sarah work here at HopeCAT, and they kept telling me, we're going to start a printmaking program. We're going to start a printmaking program, but we're just not ready for you. We're just not ready for you yet. And then it so happened last year, they called me and said, so what are you doing? Like, where are you working? What are your plans? And I said, well, I had done some teaching, but I couldn't get like a full-time job anywhere. And they said, well, it's time and we want you. Would you want to move back to your hometown and do this? And I said, absolutely. And that's how I ended up back in Sharon, where I grew up, now working at HopeCAT. And it's just awesome. And I'm trying to, you know, kind of do what all those people did for me, kind of open up different doors for our students by way of printmaking, because a lot of people don't really know what printmaking is or understand it. You know, a lot of people just think it's making a t-shirt. They're like, oh, do you make t-shirts? It's like, yes, we can, but we can also do lots of other things too. So that's kind of how I got back to Sharon. Sorry, that was kind of a long way around, but
I love it.
I think it's
artist bio story.
yeah, Lady knows it's a lot about Tom here, our director, always says this. He says, you know, like your net worth, the people you know, the connections you make are your net worth. So like it took me kind of a while to figure out exactly what I wanted to do, but because of all the people I met along the way and all the things and all the different experiences I had, you know, totally helped make me who I am and help influence my art every day. So that's one thing you have to pay attention to. One of our professors in grad school, actually, John knows what I'm going to say, Pete, a guy named Pete Schulte, he was our drawing professor, and he said,
Notice what you notice.
pay attention to what you notice, or notice what you pay attention to. You can kind of like switch those two things around. What that means is, you know, I don't know, might be something to it. Like if you go for walks and you always or noticing the texture on the buildings, or you like the architecture, or I don't know, I'm a big fan of dilapidated buildings, or like things that are falling apart. There's just something so beautiful about the decay to me, and just like discarded objects. I find it kind of I have like I feel like bad for it. I have like some kind of sympathy for those things, or any, you know, it's a chair. It has no emotions or feelings, but I don't know. I kind of equate them with people sometimes, and I feel bad for it, for them, or it reminds me of something. So that's why a lot of my work tends to be about, like, you know, I can't waste anything. I like to repurpose things. There's always a use for something. Also, my dad was a construction worker, and he did a lot of demolition, like tearing down buildings and stuff like that. So I grew up around that, watching him tear things down. And then he also found like lots of cool treasures, I call them, in these buildings he was tearing down. You know, like he found a piano, like a beautiful piano, and we got it refinished, and it's been in my parents' house since I was a kid. He would find like little antique like glass bottles, like, you know, like the blue glass and like different things like that. You know, so I think at a young age I had like a fondness for, I don't know, things like that, like just things I've been left behind. And that's the other thing about that I love, is like the history of the objects. And you don't know the history of it. You kind of can make up your own story with it. So that's kind of what I do too. When I find an object that gets my attention, I take it and then I analyze, like, why did I pick this up? And then, you know, you can do a whole series of work just on things like that. But yeah, anyway, I'm talking too much.
No, I like it. Does anybody have any questions for Checa?
Yeah, so if you had to do any other art form instead of like ceramics or the oh, I just lost my mind.
Printmaking?
Printmaking, what would it be?
Ooh, that's tough.
You'd be a sculptor.
I think so. I think sculpture, like a sculpture, would be what I would do. People ask me sometimes if I am a sculptor, and I'm like, no, I think it's just the way I work. I could never do, I mean, I do things on the computer, but I could never be like a digital art person. I like touching things too much. I like the tactile. I like to get in there and make a mess. I couldn't just sit and look at a computer all day doing my art that way. I like to get messy. Does that answer your question? Ooh, look at these. You guys see the stencils coming up? So you know what's kind of cool. What about you? What's your medium? Are you just, you like ceramics the best? Do you like to draw? Do you like to paint?
I like ceramics the best. I like using my hands. Like, I've tried drawing, but I'm not too good at it.
Practice makes perfect, but I know what you mean. Drawing is my least. Like I said, we can't be good at everything. Drawing's not one of my things. But I also don't dedicate enough time to it either. So there is that. But you gotta put the time in with anything, like ceramics, anything you're passionate about it and you wanna be good at it, you definitely gotta stick with it and put the time in.
I literally used to think that I could not be an art major because of how horrible of a drawer I am. Like, no joke.
I thought that too.
Hated drawing one, which is like nothing. Drawing one, you know, is the basic of basic, like how to make a line. And it was horrible for me. It was not my thing, and I used to be so mad because I went to school with so many people who can just sneeze and like a masterpiece would come out. And yeah, I was not one of those people. It took a lot of work for
Definitely.
to get where I'm at. So
You know, it's like anything. Like some people are just good at math. I had to work really hard to get a B in math, you know? So it's just one of those things. And we just got to work a little harder. I love how this is looking now. I love that, how you really do get a pretty sharp edge on that. They're like little hexagons or something. But
yeah, it's really clean.
you guys can play around with that as well. I'm excited to see down the road. So how many more weeks do you have left of the ceramics class?
For this class, we have this week and then next week.
Oh, wow.
And we're taking a break. It's a little bit, we're like troubleshooting through some stuff as far as timeline, because everyone brings their projects at the end of the class, and then we fire them and glaze them and yada yada. And then at the next break week, we get them back. So we're trying to have short enough classes that we can like have some of that instant gratification of here is some stuff back so you can see like what the final product looks like. But at the same time, we're still trying to limit as much contact as possible. Like that's why we're glazing the pieces. So that way it's not like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, you know?
Right. That's a good idea. I'm gonna suggest that to Christian because we're trying to figure out how we're gonna do that with our class with the pinch pots that they're gonna make because we actually wanted to do a raccoon for 4 of them, but like you said, we're not sure how if we're gonna let them glaze them or
yeah,
if we're gonna do it, but. We were gonna see.
What is the, oh, go ahead, Checa.
Oh no, I was gonna say their idea was we wanted to make pinch pots and then get succulents and put them in them and take them to people at nursing homes and stuff. But then my mom works at a nursing home, and we were just trying, to try and cheer some people up since they can't have visitors and things like that, and some of them can't even see their families. But then there's the whole thing of, well, can they take this thing that we made because, you know what I mean? Sterilizing it and all that stuff, but anyway.
Yeah, that'd be tough.
I'm pretty excited about this. Sorry, I like it.
Casey, what has been like the best part about the online classes? I think that we will all admit like we wish that they were in person. Yeah. But I think for this being the best that we got, it's pretty darn good.
Yeah, I think the best thing, and I'll go back to what I was saying about the best or the most expensive art supplies. Like use what you have, and I think that this kind of
Hey, Checa, you're gonna some of that. Your microphone went out again.
Yeah. Hello?
Oh, now we got you.
Okay. I don't know why it keeps doing that. I never had a problem with that before. Oh, but anyway, that was kind of perfect timing. Learning how to work with different, like Zoom and different things. I mean, it's something, it's kind of annoying a little bit, but like you said, nothing is like being in person, but it's nice to know that we as artists, one of the biggest things I think and challenges for artists are being able to adapt to different situations. And like I was saying about the materials, you kind of have to use what you have. So also something one of our professors always told us that artists are resourceful. So I think that we, you know, maybe have a different kind of wavelength than other people, artists do. And we can kind of be put in tough situations and just kind of roll with it and just, we're problem solvers, we're critical thinkers. So I think that that's been, I'm like the positive side of it to kind of reiterate how, you know, we can just kind of come up with a solution. So that's the positive. I think that's the best, probably the best part about all this. Also, I feel like I've made some of my best artwork when I have limitations or boundaries or parameters I have to work within, because it forces you to do something you wouldn't normally do. And then that opens up a whole new world for you, right? Because you're like, oh, I never am gonna do that. I never thought I could do that. But then you're kind of just forced into it. And then things probably, you know, pros and cons to it. But, you know, I think that's probably one of the best things that's happened with all this. Because like I said, this has got me making different things that I haven't done in a while. Like during quarantine, I didn't have my printing presses and all that stuff. I didn't have access to that. So I started doing kind of like stamp printing at home. And like I said, people were dropping magazines off for me. So I got back into collaging. I forgot how much I missed it. And now I've actually, been incorporating my printmaking and my collaging together. These are actually 2 pieces I'm working on right now. If you want to see. One of my collage pieces. You see that? It's got kind of a lot going on, but there is screen printing on this, relief printing, collaging, all kinds of stuff, painting. You know, it's kind of crazy, but I really like it, and it's fun. Artists always, and I think artists always have to be evolving too. So you can get kind of stuck in a rut with your work sometimes, I think, and you just end up making the same kind of stuff over and over, and then, you know, you kind of lose the excitement over it. So you just got to like reinvent kind of what you do. And I don't know.
Agreed, big time.
Cool.
Does anybody else have any last questions? Also, Cypress, I want to see your mug. I feel like you have some really cool stuff going on over there, and you're just so quiet and keep on working that I've never really noticed it. You have something gorgeous.
Clouds.
Those are beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's carved.
Cypress, did you carve that out? All of them?
Yeah, I carved all of them out.
That looks awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a happy pot. Good job.
So much talent, all of you. Awesome.
So I'm gonna suggest you guys finish doing all of your carving on your pot from last week today. And then your pitch pot that you made today, wrap it up super good. And we will revisit it on Thursday and go over the next surface decoration technique. For your goblet or mug or whatever you ended up with, if you want to just lightly cover it, like take a plastic bag and just like drop it, obviously not super hard, but you know, just kind of drape it over top, then it'll dry out slowly. Right, if you let your piece dry out too fast, it'll end up cracking and breaking and being a hot mess. So let it dry out pretty slow, especially if your piece is a little bit thicker, because that means that there's more water in there and it's going to take a lot longer to dry, right? The last thing I kind of wanted to check in on was how much clay do we all have left for the last 3 classes? Can you see can you like hold up how much you have left of your red and your gray clay? Oh my gosh, words.
Like I have a decent amount of the red left, but I don't have as much of the gray left as I do the red.
Okay. Let's see what you have.
Okay, I gotta get it out. 1 second.
Sorry.
Okay, so this is what I have for the red.
Okay, cool. All right, so you got a good amount.
And I probably have about a third to about half of what I do in the red, that's the gray.
Okay, cool. That'll be perfect. That'll get us to the class. Yeah, that'll be happy. Does anybody have any last minute questions for me or for Checa? Or are we all good? We're happy campers? Everyone say thank you to Checa for joining us for class today.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for bearing with me and thank you for helping me. I had a lovely time.
That's true. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to see new faces, especially these days that we don't really see a whole lot of new faces.
I want to see the final results.
I know. I'll have to send you some pictures.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
All that good stuff. Okay, you guys. So I'm gonna sign off. Go eat some good dinner. I know Checa is like 3 hours ahead of us, so she's probably like gonna go home and get ready for bed. It's like way past dinner time there.
Yeah, my apartment is full of boxes. We just unloaded everything. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, that's so exciting.
Yeah.
Just today.
Yep.
Cool.
We rolled in at like 2:30. No, like 2 o'clock. And we unloaded everything. And then I was like, gotta go, bye.
Yeah, that's so cool. All right, okay, guys. I will see you on Thursday. Don't forget to take a picture of your project. Cypress, I would definitely would like, oh my gosh, a picture of your mug if you can take one. And yeah, have a good night.
Bye. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.